Greetings. It is Friday, November 27th. I'm on a bus because the trains are closed on Fridays to discourage non-essential travel, and we're going to the city of David. Alright, so in my videos, you may have noticed that the walls of Jerusalem have moved around, and that's still the case. The old city as it exists today is quite a bit smaller than it was at its apex under Agrippa, and also further north than it was during the Hasmonean period, and the Davidic period before it.
Machane Yehuda.
And as it just so happens, the very, very oldest part of the city is actually south of the city walls today, and that's where we're going. Okay, so this is where the city started, actually at the temple. You can see it poking up if not for where this wall is now. This didn't exist. And the city would just continue down the scarp here. We think there may have been a palace here from the Davidic period. And here we continue into the oldest pre-Davidic part of the city. Because this Jerusalem was not just a Jewish city. It wasn't started during a period when people called Jews existed. It is actually much, much older. We're going to see more of that down there.
So what are we looking at?
This is the large stone structure, and we actually started at the top of it.
Where are we going now?
Down that way. The National Park Authority says that this is King David's palace, but I would take that with a grain of salt. They have a light show here at night, if that's what you're into. This here is actually the Hasmonean Tower, and it was built by the Hasmonean dynasty. This is the Kidron Valley, and up there is the Mount of Olives. Nobody ever tried to attack Jerusalem from the south or the east, and this is why. By this time, the city of David had become part of a much larger city with much more expansive walls to the west and the north, and this area had actually been transformed by the occupying Egyptians several decades earlier into the Acra, which was originally a fortress, but under the Hasmoneans and Herodians was more of an embassy row.
Oh wow, we're going down.
All the way down. Wonderful news! More stairs.
Woo! So this was underneath the palace?
No. This was all the city. The palace was just one small little part. This was the whole city on this like scarp of this shoulder of land coming out of the Temple Mount. In fact, this is kind of part of the Temple Mount. We're going down the southern slope of it. No, we're going down the eastern slope. So everything would have been contained just on this hill.
Were these dug or exploded? How did they make?
They were hewn.
Hewn. How did
Hewn.
An aqueduct.
Davidic period Iron Age engineers dug this through solid rock. They dug these aqueducts 3,000 years ago.
How?
כן, ועכשיו אנחנו יוצאים מהמשולש למה שיש מעל, שזה בית המקדש. הנה בית המקדש. הראשון, זה יושבי. זה רק קצת מוזר פה. זהו, איזה נוף העתיד.
So yeah, normally this would be outside. They just built a roof over it. It's time, homies. If this is starting to look and sound familiar, it's because almost 2 years ago, while I was writing my book,
I was coming down through the south of Israel. I stopped in Jerusalem. I knew I was going to make a series on Jewish history, and I recorded this for episode 4. This, of course, is Hezekiah's tunnel. It was dug by King Hezekiah through half a kilometer of solid rock to feed water directly from the Gihon spring into the Siloam pool, so that no one would have to leave the city to get water during a siege. This is what enabled Hezekiah's armies to withstand the Assyrian siege and earned him the respect of King Sennacherib. But of course, that is not the end of the story, because before the Gihon Spring Tunnel was built, another tunnel was built higher up. The only trick is, this was built by ancient Canaanites some 2,000 years before King Hezekiah. We don't really have a concept of the culture that built this. It's obviously a culture that eventually would lead to us, but it's textually a mystery. But it is an amazing human achievement for something that happened almost 4,000 years ago.
Welcome to Gehenna, where there is much wailing and gnashing of teeth. We've made it to the bottom of the hill. Can you imagine when this was the main street of the city?
I can't imagine.
Well, that is the city of David. There's honestly a lot more to it than I could have even put in a single video. But that should only be more incentive to come along and see it. It's right across the street to the south from the old city. Though, if you can't tell, I'm pretty winded from coming up from the bottom. There's a bus that comes that way sometimes, but mostly not. I'm Sam Arano, and I'll see you next time for more Jewish history on the road. Special thanks to my patrons, including my Geonim, Lev Cham, Gary Davidson, Greg Maev, Vicky Nelson, and Earl Weiss.